Hi guys, my name is Chidi. I'm your luxury real estate consultant and I am from Adwana Homes. Welcome to Property Update. We are gradually heading towards the end of 2021 and a lot of you who could not invest in real estate or who want to make another real estate investment will be looking out for another investment in 2022. But I want to remind you there are properties you should not buy in 2022. I'm going to be telling you 3 types of properties that you should not buy in 2022. If you are seeing the channel for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, please like, subscribe and share this video to those who you think might be interested in this topic. So let's set the ball rolling. Now, number 1 property you should not buy in 2022. This is the property that is way cheap. Yes, property that is too cheap, don't go for it. Now, when we say property that is too cheap, property of 250,000 may not be too cheap. Property of 300,000 may not be too cheap. It depends on the location. Property of 200 million naira can be cheap, can be too cheap. Property of 300 million can be too cheap. So it depends on the location. For example, if anyone is giving you a property in Banana Island or in Ikoyi, 600 square meter for 150 million naira, definitely we know that that property is way below market price. So if it's too cheap, don't go for it. And if you try it, you'll definitely fall in the hands of scammers. And that is how a lot of people are being scammed in today's real estate business. So a lot of scammers will come on that brokerage company and scam people with this. So don't fall into that trap. Don't buy property that is too cheap. Even in Ajah area, you can come to Ajah area and see a cheap property for 10 million naira. If that property is too cheap, from especially Ogombo Road now, that is a hot cake in Ajah axis. Now property in this location are selling above 30 million naira. Now if somebody is giving you a plot of land for 10 million naira, there definitely that property is really away from the market price. So don't go for it. Now there are different reasons why properties can be cheap. One, it could be a wetland. Wetlands are always cheaper than a dry land. So you also look at it, is it a wetland? And when you are buying a wetland, you should be aware that you are going to spend more in some filling it. So you need to fill the land before you use the land. So that's one reason why it's cheap from dry land. Now also there's other reason why lands are cheap. It could be that it's a distress sale. Maybe the owner wants to use this money for something and he is selling his land and he decides to bring the property down. But it cannot really be too cheap because he wants to sell his land. It can't be too cheap. So watch out for that and make a diligent search for your land. That takes us to number 2 property that you should not buy. Do not buy property without valid documents. Don't buy property in 2022 without valid documents. What do I mean by valid documents? For example, if you are buying land in Ekpe or Ibejuleki, you are buying from families. So families most times don't have money to process their land documents. So what they do is that they call their surveyor to survey the entire land. Maybe there may be 3 families or 4 families, they come together and survey that piece of land. Then they have their survey on hand. So what you need to do now as a buyer is to take that survey and confirm the survey as an authentic survey, because if you take the coordinates from that survey, you take it to Alausa, the office of Surveyor General, to check, to make a search for that land to find out if the land is free for government acquisition. But mind you, while using that particular survey, don't rely on it. Take your own surveyor to that piece of land. Let them take the coordinates themselves from the land directly, and so you can compare the one they gave you and the one that your surveyor is getting. Then take that your surveyor's coordinate to Alausa and make a proper search for that particular land. Then if the land is free from government encumbrances, then you can go to buy the land. Then if you are also buying in a developed location, for example in Ajah area, we expected that the land is gazetted and should have CFO or governor's consent on that land. So you need to make all this search. Use your survey. You go to Alausa, find out. Even you can still bring your surveyor to take coordinate of that land and go down there and make your research. So don't buy property without making search for it, or without finding out if the property is having a valid document. So what this will save you, to save you a lot in the near future. Government may decide to come and clear everything that you have put on that property, because you are building on their own, because you did not make a very good findings on that. This also happened to real estate companies. It also happens to real estate companies. You will notice that some estates, you find out that some estates are marked for demolition. Why? Because the real estate companies did not do their due diligence. They did not acquire a land that is free from government acquisition. So government will remove everything that is on that. So if you have invested there, your money will just go like that without any refund. So take notes, don't make that mistake in 2022. Another property you should be aware of not to buy in 2022 is, don't buy any property that is marked. Now you will see some property that is marked sealed or caveat emptor, possession taking. So these properties are really at high risk if you buy them. It could be that this property in those environments, you didn't see anything like that on it. So it is very important that when you are buying property, check your environment before you get to the property. Look if there are some properties that you see possession taking. You see 1, 2, 3 properties in that same location that has been marked possession taking. Now it could be that the land is in dispute, or they have built on government land, and government is giving them quick notice to leave that land, and that property you are buying, it may be that the property is marked, but the owner repainted it, may paint it and refurbish it and make sure that you didn't see that it was marked, but the property was marked, but they repainted it because they want to let the property go so they can use their money to develop in another location. So don't fall into that trap. So check the environment very well. Check if other properties in that location are marked like that. Then you will definitely not buy that property, because if you are able to see 1, 2, 3, 4 in the same line, and you see possession taking, you see sealed, you see it like that, you should know that something is wrong in that location. So do not buy land or do not buy house in that location. So you can move to another location where you can get the right property in a good location where there is no issue on the land or on the property. So take note of this so that you don't make a mistake that a lot of people have made, and it has cost them a lot of things. Some of them, their hard-earned money went off like that, like throwing money in a very hot fire. So it's something that you should be very careful not to make such mistake in 2022. So if you are looking for a lawyer to help you, or a surveyor to help you when you are buying your property, it will just cost you a few money to hire this surveyor or lawyer to do this work for you, but trust me, it's going to give you a lasting peace of mind. You buy your property and you enjoy your property, and even will the property to your children, and your children and your great grandchildren will continue to get this property if you make your due diligence in the first place. I have decided to share this beautiful information with you. If you find this information helpful, please do subscribe to our channel and share this information to your loved ones. My name remains Chidi. I'm your luxury real estate consultant. See you in my next video.